Hi friends, I'm Laura and welcome to my garden. Today I'm going to be giving you a tour of what the end of autumn garden is looking like and getting prepared to tear things up for the end of autumn, the start of winter, and a season of dormancy. The back porch is looking the same as usual. We got a different flower in here that I transplanted from one of the raised garden beds out there. This is a shade-loving plant, and so far it's really flourishing in this pot. I'm really happy because the shade-loving plant I had put here before was not very drought tolerant and did not do well because this terracotta planter wicks away all the moisture. And so this plant has really flourished and done a lot better. Love this. I've already emptied this planter, which was filled with celosia in different colors, and got that ready to be planted up with some winter flowers. We've got some construction going on, so there's some knocking. And this back porch is looking so cute thanks to my best friend and sister who went all out and helped me decorate, and that's been so wonderful. I need to do some deadheading on this mum. It's still looking so good, but it would be really nice to get a second flush of blooms if I just deadhead the ones that are past their prime. But that is still looking so good. And I've been really impressed with these plants my friend got me. She said they're indoor outdoor, so I'll have to bring them indoor. They will be indoor houseplants during winter, but they've actually done so well outside and they've grown so much. The other one is over here and you can just see it's like growing in all other kinds of directions. I am pleasantly surprised and I think they're beautiful. The colors on them are so nice. Like look at that deep purple red and the green, and it's so beautiful. I'm probably going to get rid of this spider plant. I also want to get rid of the citronella because this is not perennial and it will die. And we're at the end of October right now, which means our nights are in the 50s and 40s and not really a lot of mosquito action going on. It's a little cool for them. So, you know, I don't know if I will grow that again. I don't know if it actually helped with mosquitoes or not. It's hard to tell. We've got some mums back here, some carrots. I would love to kind of check these out. You see how tall these greens have gotten? I would love to pull that out and kind of evaluate how big the carrots are, see if they're ready for harvest. I don't know. I don't know if they are. Got some beautiful grasses here that I'm loving. This beautiful pepper plant. I really wish I could overwinter it and bring it into the garage because look how beautiful it is. And it started off as such a small plant when I got it just like 2 months ago, and hornworms took it down to almost nothing, and it's really rebounded back at the end of the season. But unfortunately, we don't have any lights in the garage for artificial growing, and we don't really have the space to set up a structure where we could set down, you know, like sunlight providing lamp or something comparable for the pepper plant to overwinter in the garage. So I don't think that's going to be possible, but it would be really cool because look at all these beautiful flowers. Oh, it's got less flowers on it than it did a couple days ago because this beautiful flower right here, look at the one that was next to it, is already turning into a bell pepper. So these are little snackum bell peppers that get about this long and they stay skinny and they turn orange. But you can see there's lots of little buds and flowers on there. Lots of fruit forming, so it'd be really cool if I get a little bit more out of that. Also, just, I've loved these flowers so much. But it's supposed to be an annual, hardy in a zone warmer than I am, so I really don't think it's going to last through the winter. I don't know, I just don't feel good about it lasting through the winter. We'll see. But I kind of want to pull it and maybe put some winter plants in there since I'll have to pull the pepper anyway. We'll see. I'll also have to pull the celosia because that is definitely an annual and not perennial where I live. So all of this is probably gonna get pulled out of this giant planter down there. And then back here we have a pepper plant that I really need to clean up. And that's a purple, I think it's called Hot Pops. And it's a tiny little pepper. You can see part of it died where it was droughted out, and but part of the plant is still doing well. And so I think if I could go in there and divide the plant, take the dead parts off and pot it into something more substantial for winter, that would be really awesome, because this one is a perennial in our zone. And then we've got the tomato plant here. I don't really anticipate getting any delicious fruit off of this anymore. Like, we've got a tomato there, we've got a ripe one here, and some ripe ones that fell off down there that are probably overripe and don't taste awesome. And we do have some new ones forming over here that are green, but you know, because it's been so chilly out, I don't know if that's gonna, you know, ripen up and actually taste good, or if it's gonna taste a little off because the weather's been cold. Some more grass and autumn plants. I've probably got some of these pumpkins that I need to toss in the compost because they've been out here since the beginning of September, and it was a really warm September for us, and so they kind of got rotted and stuff pretty quickly. So a lot of them already went to the compost pile because they were rotting on the porch, but a couple of other ones just look like they're molded and they've got some soft part. This planter has been one of my favorites this year. I love it so much, and even at the end of fall is looking so good. So this is a hellebore, which is perennial in my zone, and it's one of the first things to bloom in like February. So, you know, late winter, early spring interest. February or March, you're starting to get some blooms, and I'm really excited for that. So it's done really well. It's kind of rebounded a couple of times this season, but she's looking so good going into winter. And I think this is Vinca vine, just been amazing. This is one of my favorite plants for sure, and I would love to do hanging baskets with this next year. Like, look at that new growth it's sending up already. You can tell it doesn't quite have the deepened color of the older established stuff, but this has just produced like crazy, and it sent tendrils off that went all the way down there, and I cut it back a few times, and it's amazing. So I have it planted all around the hellebore, and it kind of pours out everywhere. It's been such a lovely treat this year. My fern that I rescued from a friend, and it ended up, you know, exploding with all new growth and rebounding for the rest of the season. I don't think this is winter hardy. I'm not sure though, so I'll have to look into that. So you can see I need to do some cleanup, some planting of winter stuff, pulling of summer stuff. Just trying to gauge at what pace I want to do it and what I want to give a chance to versus what I want to just toss out. My pumpkin experiment this year, I struggled so hard with powdery mildew. It has been such a struggle, and I've been using neem oil. It's not been very successful. It works for a short period of time, and then you got to spray again, and I just have not stayed on top of it. And our first killing frost is in about 2 weeks. So I don't think with the blooms I have on this, like, let me try to find a fruit here. Oh, there's some bees on it though. So like there's a small fruit right there. Like, oh, it just fell off. Never mind. Okay, there was a small fruit there. I was going to say anything that looks like this or a bit smaller than this, it's not going to have enough time in 2 weeks to grow into a pumpkin. So I think I might just go ahead and pull these 2 pumpkins out. And I don't think I'll grow them again in the future in this yard because they go everywhere. They really eat up so much space. The powdery mildew is such a hard issue to tackle. You know, you have to have a lot of space to grow pumpkins, and I don't think I will do that again, given the space that we have and how I can utilize it. This mum needs to be totally deadheaded and repotted. I've got some lovely pansies here that will look so good if I put them in some pots for winter interest on the porch. So I thought that would be really nice. I probably need to come through and deadhead some of them that are just looking tired. So look at all new blooms. But look how beautiful. I just love these little pansies so much. So cute. We've got another pumpkin over here. You can see the powdery mildew hit this one a lot worse. So we've got some beautiful flowers. We might even have a small fruit on it somewhere, but nothing that's going to turn into a pumpkin in the next couple of weeks. So we've got the raspberry bush. We might get a couple more raspberries out of this year. Let me pick these two right now and eat them. Nice. So yummy. My goal is for this raspberry bush to take up this entire 4-foot section of this bed next year. I would love to get it to grow that big. I found out this year that it likes so much more water than I was ever giving it before. And so I think given that new information, I'll be able to really help it flourish and take over this part of the garden bed next year. So that's the hope. It's kind of hard to show you a good view because it's so bright out. We've got some dahlias that need deadheading. They looked so good earlier this week. I wish I would have gotten out here to do the garden tour then, because we had so many that looked like this. Just beautiful in their prime. And I think these will last another 2 weeks. So I don't think I'm going to pull them up out of the garden today and divide up tubers yet, but we'll see. A zucchini, which never grew up enough to become anything really. And we've got so many light pink mums. These are all chrysanthemums, and I love them. They look like daisies. My issue is the gardener I had got them from, they appeared a lot more pink in her yard. There's such a light pink in my yard that when you get up close, they actually look white. It's only from like far away. I don't know if it's coming through on camera. From far away, you can tell it's a really subtle light pink, but up close, it's white. And I don't know if I want that many white chrysanthemums that look like daisies at the end of fall. They just grow so bushy and big so quickly. You know, they take up all that greenery foliage space throughout summer. It's sacrificing a lot of garden space throughout summer in order to have these blooms in the fall. So I'm kind of evaluating where I want to go with that in the future. I need to pull up some other stuff in here that just hasn't done well. And these flowers are doing so good, though. They've been covered in bees. So that's been really fun to watch. We've got some more dahlias up there that need to be deadheaded because they're tired. One of them just coming into bloom. Oh, maybe you can see this view here. So we've got like that's a moth. I don't know if you can see it. It's hard to tell with the lighting here. And then there's like a giant bee. There's bees all over these. Let me see if I can show you there what all that bee action looks like. So it's really nice to like be able to see I'm still providing for all these bees at the end of autumn. Although I will say it's oh, there's the tiniest dragonfly I've ever seen. A little thing. Oh, and a big bee down there. Got some zinnias I could probably pull up. I don't think I'm going to get any more blooms off of this one this year. I've got one pink one down there. Look at that. She's a cutie. She's not a zinnia at all. She's a dahlia, I think. Yeah, she's a dahlia. Very cute. She must have been part of the pink pastel multi-mix that I had ordered. So that's pretty cool. Sad she didn't get staked upright though, because that's her life now, but that's okay. And just some really, really tired looking plants. We've got more dahlias back here that need to be pulled, some sunflowers. Hydrangea bush is just looking really tired, probably needs to be cut back for the winter. And hopefully it'll do better next year. I'm really hoping I can install some drip tubing next year, which will help a lot with my issues with watering. So that's what the raised garden beds look like at the end of autumn. Before I do any more cleanup, and we've got our persimmon tree right here. She's starting to get some autumn color and dropping leaves already. You can see that. She's about to be a naked tree for winter. But yeah, I've got some cleanup projects to do around here, some bricks to lay around there, some topsoil to level out the ground, pumpkins to pull, flowers to deadhead, and lots of annuals to put into the compost pile and replace for winter.